Have you ever wondered how a single day can shatter a life and spark a revolution? In the heart of Nigeria, what begins as a routine errand rapidly turns into a journey through darkness, marked by organ harvesting, ritual killings, and merciless cruelty. Listen to the harrowing journey of Kenechukwu, a young barber thrust into an unimaginable nightmare as one governor's unwavering resolve ignites a battle for justice and rebirth. Stay with me until the very end. Every twist and turn builds toward a final revolution you won't want to miss. This is not just a tale of terror and escape. It's a story of resilience, hope, and enduring strength of the human spirit. Kenechukwu was a young, ambitious barber in Nnewi, whose dreams were as sharp as the scissors he wielded with pride. His small but vibrant salon buzzed daily with laughter, friendly chatter from customers, and rhythmic hum of clippers. Every snipe of hair was a small moment of act and connection. Yet, that morning, as he prepared for another seemingly ordinary day, he felt a particular stirring in his heart. Today, he was setting out on a trip to his native village, Abagana. Not for business, but to run a simple errand, delivering items for his beloved mother. As he mounted his cherished red Yamaha ladybird, the sun battered the roads in a golden glow, promising hope and possibility. He rode past marketplaces and tough serene, quiet villages, exchanging warm greetings with locals who knew him by name. Yet, hidden in the shadows of a roadside stall, a group of men watched him intently. Their cold, calculating eyes and furtive glances were silent omens of the darkness soon to unfold. The route to Abagana, typically lined with friendly faces and rustic beauty, suddenly took a sinister edge. Out of nowhere, without any warning, their voices, harsh and laced with cruelty, shattered the tranquil morning. "Step down or we'll kill you here," one bellowed, his tone devoid of mercy. In a matter of heartbeats, chaos erupted. Before Kenechukwu could comprehend the danger, they forced him off his motorcycle. A rough cloth was brutally tied over his eyes, plunging him into darkness amid the roaring sound of a different engine. His silent pleas were swallowed by the night as he was whisked away from everything familiar, leaving behind a life filled with warmth and promise. When Kenechukwu's blindfold was finally removed, he found himself in a grim clearing deep within an oppressive forest. The air was heavy with the stench of decay, and anguished cries echoed through the darkness, setting his heart racing. Tied to a gnarled tree alongside other captives, each bearing the mark of unspeakable suffering, he slowly understood that they were mere pawns in a cruel game orchestrated by a notorious gang known as the Forest Lords. In the dim flickering light, the leader of the captors emerged. Scared, yet unevenly calm, he moved among the prisoners with measured grace. Rather than inciting terror and brutality, he offered the weary captives a bowl of warm ogbono soup and eba, speaking in a soft, almost soothing tone. "Eat now, you need strength for what comes next." For a brief, heart-wrenching moment, the food brought a fragile sense of comfort, yet beneath those gentle words lay a dark reality. They were not being rescued. Their fate was sealed. Soon, their organs would be harvested for profit. A gruesome destiny, masked by deceptive kindness. As night fell, the forest transformed into a chorus of unearthly sounds. Distant moans, the crunch of dry leaves under unseen footsteps, and the murmur of the dark incantations. In that oppressive darkness, Kenechukwu thoughts wandered back to simpler times. His mother's joyful laughter, the lively chatter of his barber's shop. For a fleeting instant, the cherished moments kindled a spark of hope, a determination to survive. Back in Nnewi, news of Kenechukwu disappearance sent shocking waves among his friends and family. His once bustling shop is now silent, and his family roam the streets to search for him. Their voices raised an anxious inquiry. Headlines blared reports of rising kidnappings, and fear tightened its grip on every heart in town. Deep in the heart of the forest, terror was an ever-present shadow. Every dawn, if even the slightest sign of unrest was detected among the captives, brutal beatings would ensue. Kenechukwu witnessed horrors that defied imagination. A dead man being dragged away for a bloody ritual on a lady's motorcycle, and fellow captives vanishing into the night, his anguished cries fading into the cold air. One fateful evening, as the camp lay shrouded in heavy oppressive silence, Kenechukwu managed to catch whispered fragments of conversation between two guards. "The governor has declared war on us," one murmured. "They will soon come for our boss." That revelation stirred something deep within him. A spark of conviction that the tides of fate were at long last beginning to turn. The state's response was swift and unyielding. Governor Oso Soludo's crackdown, known as Operation Udogachi, was executed with ruthless precision by the Allied Task Force Agunechemba. Their mission was clear: dismantle the network of native doctors who had been conducting ritual killings under the guise of traditional healing. In coordinated raids, these brave officers stormed hidden shrines and clandestine altars deep in the rural hinterlands, arresting those who had exploited ancient rites for their own profit. Each arrest sent a powerful message: no one was above the law. The crackdown was further fueled by a brutal act that shocked the entire state. A prominent lawmaker had been kidnapped, and even after a staggering ransom of 100 million naira was paid, he was mercilessly executed. The senseless murder ignited a wildfire of outrage, propelling Governor Soludo into a state of unbridled fury. But Soludo's resolve did not end with arrests. In a dramatic display of authority, his administration set out to demolish properties associated with ritualists and kidnappers. Once thriving compounds that served as clandestine meeting points for criminal syndicates were reduced to rubble. At the same time, Yahoo boys, infamous criminals who had facilitated these heinous acts from behind scenes, were rounded up one after the other. Every arrest reinforced the state's uncompromising stance. All forms of crime, be they rooted in ancient mysticism or modern deceit, would be extinguished. News of the sweeping crackdown spread like wildfire. Alarmed by the arrest of their native doctors and unraveling of their networks, the kidnappers found themselves with no choice. Concerned and desperate, they were forced to release their captives. In one final act of cruelty, Before vanishing into the shadows, they emptied their victims' bank accounts, seizing every last naira before letting them go. In the aftermath of these decisive decisions, the entire landscape of Anambra transformed overnight. The once frenetic nights became silent. Late-night movements turned into a rarity. Bustling hotels that had once pulsed with nocturnal rivalry now stood scant and desolate. Their neon lights replaced by quiet order of disciplined streets. Flashy cars that had once dominated the avenues were gone. Their luster erased by the uncompromising new reality because Oso Soludo has begun. Before the Yahoo boys and other criminals could even begin their flight, Governor Soludo had issued a bold decree. He ordered all local towns to announce that anyone who did not have a verifiable job yet lived a lavish lifestyle was to be reported to the government or local authorities. This public mandate struck at the heart of corruption, exposing hidden wealth and forcing criminal networks into the open. With this measure in effect, the era of rampant association crumbled, ushering in a crackdown so formidable that it came to be known as Oso Soludo. Criminal networks now unable to operate under the harsh glare of day were thrown into disarray. Yahoo boys, once unafraid and brazen their digital escapades, were forced into hiding as authorities closed in. Even cultural symbols shifted. Boys who once proudly wore their dreadlocks now found themselves compelled to cut their hair. Native doctors and Desewanyes are now on the run. Oso Soludo. Furthermore, anyone caught performing a ritual bath near the river, an act once cloaked in sinister sorcery, was immediately apprehended. This uncompromising policy underscored the state's unwavering commitment to eradicate every vestige of ritualistic exploitation. As the oppressive veil of criminality lifted, a quiet revolution began to take root in Nnewi and beyond. The newfound silence of the night and absence of extravagant displays in the streets signaled more than just fear. It heralded the rebirth of community committed to rebuild on foundation of trust, unity, and shared purpose. When Kenechukwu finally staggered back into the familiar streets of Nnewi, he was a changed man. No one could mistake his appearance for that of once vibrant Baba. He emerged as a tortured soul, a living testament to the horrors that he had endured. His red bloodshot eyes, tattered and dirty clothes, and deep haunting scars marked 2 harrowing weeks in the bush. It was Nkechi, a neighboring food seller, whose heart had grown heavy with a worry during his disappearance, who first spotted him. Her eyes filled with concern as she saw his gaunt frame approaching. Without hesitation, she rushed forward, offering him a bowl of soup and words of comfort, as if to stitch together the broken fragments of his spirit. She quickly called a nurse, who arrived promptly to tend to the deadly bruises and wounds scattered across his back. In that simple act of kindness, a bowl of egusi soup and akpu, a caring touch, and the reassurance of a compassionate neighbor, hope began to emerge. Community leaders and law enforcement, buoyed by success of Operation Udogachi and the unyielding resolve of Agune Chamber, worked tirelessly to fortify neighborhoods. The relentless crackdown had dismantled criminal syndicates and installed a renewed sense of civic duty. Every quiet street corner, every humble dwelling resonates with the promise of a brighter tomorrow. For those who had endured the darkness, the transformation was both painful and redemptive. The scars of the past remained, yet in their place grew an unbreakable resolve, a commitment to reclaim their identity and rebuild a society founded on justice and unity. Kenechukwu's journey, from a tortured soul returned in tattered clothes and haunted eyes, to a beacon of hope nurtured by compassionate neighbors like Mama Nkechi, became a living reminder that even in aftermath of profound loss, hope can emerge to light the way forward.